What's up guys, Sal here. So there's a never-ending competition racing before our very eyes. The battle for smartphone supremacy in the world between Samsung and Apple never relents. The two companies always find themselves in the number 1 and 2 spots for the most popular smartphone maker in the world. For the last decade, Samsung has reigned supreme. However, in the last quarter of 2021, Apple surprised many by surpassing Samsung to take the number 1 spot, and they did that with a huge margin. So many were looking forward to how things would be in the next quarter, which is Q1 of 2022, and can Apple hold on to this number 1 spot, or Samsung would regain what they believe to be their rightful position. Well, we have sales data from Counterpoint Research and Canalys to suggest who is the king of the smartphone world in the first 3 months of 2022, and
wait. No, 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 no! No, 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 no!
Yes, Samsung has successfully managed to take back their crown from Apple once again. Canalys reports that 311 million smartphones were sold in the first quarter of 2022, and Samsung shipped 73.7 million units. Apple took the number 2 spot with 56.5 million unit sales, and Xiaomi at third with 39 million. There's a huge difference in volume between the number 1 and number 2 spot, so it's safe to say Samsung will hold on to their number 1 position in the next quarter as well. Strong sales of the Galaxy S22 Ultra as well as their mid-range A series handset contributed the most. But it's not all bad for Apple because they are the only smartphone maker in the list whose sales increased when compared to the same time frame last year, with an 8% increase year over year, while Samsung sold 4% fewer smartphones compared to last year. Interestingly, Chinese phone makers such as Xiaomi, Oppo and Vivo sold significantly fewer phones, and the main reason for that is the lockdown that's being implemented in China right now. Xiaomi at one point was looking like they would take the place of Huawei and challenge Samsung for the number 1 spot, but that turned out to be a one-hit wonder. Samsung sold almost twice as many smartphones as Xiaomi. Now, as for who was the most profitable in the first quarter, it's unsurprisingly Apple with a revenue of $97 billion and a net quarterly profit of $25 billion. Samsung on the other hand made $61 billion in revenue and $11 billion in profits. So even though Samsung is number 1 in smartphone rankings, but Apple continues to take the cake when it comes to profits. Of course, let me know what do you think about this down in the comments, and as always, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.